Welcome to the Redvee TV Instant Fan Reaction, supported by Chapel House for the 2023 season, as we reflect on Saints' 20 points to 12 defeat here this evening against the Leigh Leopards at the Leigh Sports Village. It's devastating to say that we've just filmed a 15-minute really good instant reaction and didn't record any of it, which pretty much sums up our evening, Kevin. It was a true game of two halves, that one.
Yeah, a bit like this might be. We were excellent in that first one that we didn't record. Let's hope that we can be better in the second half than Saints showed in the game. Yeah,
obviously, first half, we've done all right. We've weathered the storm a little bit. Leigh have come out. They've obviously watched what worked for Leeds. They've obviously seen what Cass did against us, and they've gone similar again, haven't they? They've tried to swing the ball left and right and gain gaps. I think what didn't stick in the first half for Leigh, it was just a little bit of lack of composure.
Yep.
And we weathered the storm, and maybe that made up for or covered up a little bit for us, because even then in the first half our defence looked a little bit shaky.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think, as you say, Leigh had good field position. We got the tries, but they had good field position and didn't quite execute. And they even took that into the second half as well, where they were trying to force it a little bit too much, and they were better than needing to do that. I've spoken in the past about teams being honest, and they were trying to push it a little bit too much and not be honest and just get field position. You don't want to be boring and play percentages, and Leigh weren't boring to watch. But yeah, it probably did mask the fact that we scored 2 tries to Leigh's none in that first half. It probably did mask the kind of frailty of the defence that you've just mentioned.
We did get on top. We scored the opening try, great kick from Johnny Lomax, short kick. Managed to find himself back on the end of it to score, and then a Jack Welsby wonder ball out to the left-hand side has put John Bennison in easily. And at 12-0 up, that's the game professional Saints see out. But once again, we've allowed a team to come back into a game from 12 points down. Second half, Leigh have come out, and they were on top for the entire half. We didn't look like we were going to create anything in that game.
No, we looked flat, didn't we? I think there's some lethargy there. I think there's still the hangover from Australia, and it's great in hindsight me saying this after watching the game and not being involved in it all, but is it that we've not used the full squad properly? I know we've rotated because of suspensions and injuries.
It's always been necessity though, hasn't it?
But that's it. You just think, is there something else we could have done? Is there possibly? And it's all ifs, buts, and maybes now. You're right. Leigh were bright, were sharp, and we just looked tired. We looked toffee. We didn't look like there was the spark there. And we were talking in the first half about how Jack Welsby provided us with a third half back, so they could shut down Lewis Dodd, who I thought was quite quiet tonight. They could try and shut down Johnny Lomax, and then you've got Jack Welsby there. But even with them 3 on the field tonight, second half, we didn't really make too much.
Listen, we've spoke about it previously. I think we spoke about after the Cass. We're defending really narrow, aren't we? I think Wello spoke about it as well, the way we're trying to defend. It's obviously not helped by the change of personnel week in, week out, due obviously to injuries or suspensions. But we look vulnerable. When that ball goes wide, one cut-out ball, and all of a sudden it's 4 on 2. And listen, we've looked vulnerable against Leigh, Cass, Leeds in them positions. When we come up against top calibre, top of the table opposition, and listen, that's no disrespect to the 3 sides who we've played so far, maybe Cass, but we need to sort it out, because it's not right at this moment in time. We seem to have gone away from the way we defended last year, and I'm not entirely sure why.
Well, listen, new coach, new ideas.
Does it just take time to blend in?
Yeah.
And then messages come across? Listen, we had it, if we go back a few years when Christian Wolf came in, then first few weeks before COVID hit and the season got shut down, we didn't look right. Once the ideas had time to embed, it did. But I think at the moment, combined with we definitely look like we're lacking energy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just not clicking for us. The change of personnel again, it's like a perfect whirlwind, isn't it, to cause these defeats.
That's it, and when you've got players of the ability of Lachlan Lamb, who I thought was exceptional for Leigh tonight, you've got the likes of him being able to put the ball out to Ricky Lutelli on one side and Josh Shanley to Tom Briscoe. These aren't players who are Championship players who've just come up. These are Super League players. These are players who've been there, done it, know exactly what they're doing. So if they've got somebody pulling the strings like that, and them being able to get the hands free too often, the offload, the Harlem Globetrotters-esque stuff that we are so known for, teams are getting joy by doing that. Teams are getting joy by offloading.
I'd like to see the missed tackle count for us tonight. Yeah. The amount of offloads we allowed, we weren't clamping the ball as we normally do. But that second half, I can't remember an opportunity where we looked like we were going to score, or we even looked dangerous. For me, I think we look a little bit static in the back line. Is that a little bit of lack of pace? Is it just the continuity not being there with the changes? Listen, John Bennison, he took his try well, the one that he had. I just wonder whether we need to change things up a little bit next week, and it might be time just to give T. Ritson another go in the side, but just to add that little bit of pace maybe, and where we can spread the play and we don't look so contained.
Yeah, listen, I think John would be unlucky to find himself out of the team. I think defensively he's usually sound. He's good under the high ball. He's usually in the right defensive position.
He just looks like it's the shape of the moment that looks like he's exploding. Listen, Tommy on the other side equally looks the same when it comes that way. But I think most teams are focusing on that edge at the moment, aren't they?
They possibly are. I think he'd find himself unlucky. But if we're doing what we're talking about and changing it up a little bit, then maybe you do have to look at the likes of T. Ritson coming in. Maybe you do have to look at spelling James Roby a bit more than you're doing now.
Yeah, we spoke in the game there tonight, 55, 60 minutes. Obviously, James hasn't played since he came back from Australia. He looked like he was blowing, he looked knackered. And you don't... Listen, how often have you ever said that about James Roby? He's normally an absolute machine. And there seemed to be that little bit of reluctance to take him off the field and put Joey Lussick on. I don't know whether the change came a little bit too late. But once again, our disciplines let us down. Yeah. We're 12-8 up, 13 on the field, where we're already looking a little bit shaky on the edges. Matty Lees comes in over the top, chasing the kick. Listen, I think the man was going to ground a little bit, but he's gone high, he's seen yellow, and while he's off the field, we've conceded points yet again. And it's at the area of the field it's just not needed.
Yeah, we're not trying to throw the baby out with the bathwater here. We're not trying to turn around and say we need to reinvent the wheel.
It's nothing that can't be fixed.
But you talk about the Joey Lussick thing. Listen, if there's a reluctance to play him, and an over-reliance on James Roby, then that to me does then come in as a worry. Because if you're only playing him for 10, 15 minutes at a time and not giving him longer to put his stamp on games, why is he here? You turn around and say, well, if you don't think he's going to give you the spark, then give Taylor Pemberton a shot. See what he can do. You might as well give him the 10 minutes if you're going to do that. I think Joey does need more time on the pitch. I think we've spoken about that in the previews before the season. But then going on to discipline, you're right, 6 agains. Even discipline just as letting the ball out of the tackle.
With our backs turned.
Yeah, making individual errors. Yeah, we've got another yellow card there. It'll go to disciplinary. We'll see what comes of that. We'll see what comes of a couple of little things that'll have happened during the game.
I'll be honest, I felt the man was falling and he's just come over the top. But
listen, it's another yellow card. It's another. We're in that position and we've done it again. I know there's a lot of clamping down on the high shots. It is what it is. I'm not gonna start arguing with that decision. It's over on the other side of the field to us. Not bothered by that.
Oh no,
But I think the thing is, our discipline as a team doesn't just go from giving away stupid penalties and 6 agains. It goes from, I think it's that tiredness is a reason for it, but our ill discipline is not wrapping the ball up, is not stopping that offload, he's not stopping that extra pass, he's not somebody coming in and taking the legs rather than it being everybody's just trying to get up top and wrestle him, and they're allowing another 3 or 4 metres on the go. So listen, there's stuff to fix up, and it is fixable. It's not all.
Everything's fixable. We need to get back to a settled side. That's going to take a couple of weeks. We've got Hull coming up next week. That's not going to be an easy game, and it's all of a sudden a very big game for us as well. I don't want to take anything away from Leeds tonight because I thought they were excellent. The fans got behind them, and you get the impression that they're not going to be battling down the bottom of the table based on that level of performance tonight. They've got dangerous players all over the field. And listen, I think I said to you when it went to 12-8, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the tide. It was a tide coming towards us, and we couldn't. Well, we didn't have the defence to keep it back.
Yeah, I thought they were excellent. I thought they managed the game well. They possibly could have scored more. They probably should have scored more.
And it would have been easy for them to fold at 12-0 as well.
Correct. But listen...
Is that complacency a little bit on our part, though, when we went to 12-0 up? Did we come out second half thinking the game was won? I don't know.
Possibly. If we did, then that's obviously an error. I doubt it, because I don't think we're that type of team. I think it is tiredness. I think that's what it is. But you're right.
That would make sense based on the fact that the last 2 weeks our performance has dipped in the second half of games.
But Leigh have been great. He's back to interrupted. Leigh have been great tonight.
Supporting your opinion, Kevin.
Leigh have been great tonight. I think they were the better team. They've deserved the win. And Derek was right. He said any team to get 18 points or over would win the game. And he's been proved right.
A rugby league mastermind, a good way to celebrate his birthday as well. Getting serenaded by Carol Decker as well at our time. Listen, first time we've been back here in Super League for a couple of years. It's a Super League stadium, isn't it?
Yes. That's it. It's a great setup here. I think
Desso pitch. It's Premier League standard, obviously the football being played here as well. Big terrace behind the stick, just like at the Totally Wicked, and they get behind the team.
Yeah. And that's it, fair play to him. I think a lot of teams could learn a lot from this setup. Hopefully some of the teams, we always speak to Roger from Cast, don't we, who tells us that they're getting money for funding for their stadium. Listen, hopefully a lot of stadiums like this, just with better facilities, and get behind your team like the Leigh fans have today.
Yeah, really disappointing evening. Is that one of the... I don't even want to say one of the worst. Do you know what? I was going to say, is that one of the worst 40 minutes of rugby that I've seen Saints play in recent years? No, because I've seen some really bad performances. That just looked tired.
It was
flat.
That's
tired and flat.
That's all it was. Flat and tired. Leigh were the better team. We were flat. I think if we play to our full potential, no offence to Leigh, I think we beat them. But we're not there at the minute, and Leigh have taken that opportunity, and fair play to them, because they deserve the win.
Just a quick mention for a couple of players who've come in tonight. Ben Davis, listen, he's not a centre, but his effort.
He is a centre.
I don't think that's where he's going to finish up. I think he needs to play in the second row.
Yeah.
I don't think in attack he offers us enough as a centre, but I think as a second row option, I think he deserves his chance. Sam Royal came in steady.
I thought he did all right. I thought he kept on taking the ball in, because I was watching him quite a bit, so it might be that I'm a little bit biased because I was watching him because I wanted to see how he did, because it's a good start for him and a good chance for him. I don't think he's done anything wrong, and I think that if he keeps on getting his chance, we'll see him get in. It's another thing, though, that he might be in 1 week and out the next, because we get Kurt Sirenham back next week. I'd like to see him given a run of games to see how he goes, because tonight I don't think he's done much wrong. I think he's took the ball in as he should do. And listen, it's tough to judge someone off the back of that performance when pretty much everyone in that team looked a bit flat.
Yeah. One man who was really flat tonight was Alex. We found it surprising to see him start off the bench. We discussed on the... Did he look a bit under the weather when he came on? He didn't have that usual robust impact. But again, I thought Leigh defended him really well. Just chopping him down.
Yeah, they just went round the legs. You can't run without your legs, can you? And that's it. They kind of knew what to do with him. I think Iggy Parsley was the one who had our goal forward from the props. Yeah, it's just a night to forget, really, for if you're a Saints fan.
But if you're a Tapau fan, it was fantastic.
It certainly was.
I'm not though.
No, fair enough.
15 and a half minutes. It wasn't as good as our first effort.
No, it wasn't.
Our first effort. Do you know what? Our first effort was genuinely one of the best fan reactions we've done. We've tried to repeat most of it there. I think we've done all right.
We've got most of it in, but I think it flowed better first time.
Yeah. Kev's gonna have a Popeye arm holding this camera up for half an hour. Right, let's go home. At least it's not snowing. And at least Wakefield got beat again. Yeah. Listen, I don't see how Wakefield are going to get more wins than Leigh this season.
Same, correct. I don't.
Never mind. You've been watching Leigh TV.
Lobby Gobbler TV.
No, Kevin. Right, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll be back next week for the Redvee TV show. Catch you soon.